Hello, my name is Brandon, and today we're going to be talking about water pollution in the Ohio River. It is locally, so if you're a member of the Ohio community, then I suggest you listen to this. It's a pretty underrated subject. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this. However, I do think it is a big issue when it comes to the world itself, and I believe that us as Ohio citizens can find a way to prevent this from happening because the Ohio River is actually one of the most polluted rivers in America right now, and it's odd since it's also one of the smallest rivers in America. I believe that as Ohio citizens, we need to stop blaming the state for causing water pollution, but we need to blame ourselves. It's time that we start making a cause and start making a difference to the world instead of just the government. So, what we need to do as citizens of Ohio is start locally and just help prevent the Ohio River from having as much pollution as it does currently. A lot of the pollution in the Ohio River and many other rivers as well comes from non-point source pollution. And non-point sources tend to include sources that are not intentionally made to harm the water or like not having that risk of harming the water because it's supposed to be meant for land. However, storms and snow melting runs off and goes into the river and brings in these chemicals with it. So a lot of non-point pollution or non-point source pollutions come from insecticides, herbicides, fertilizers, from urban runoff and energy production, livestock waste, and bacteria and nutrients from livestock. Just a lot of um, sources that don't necessarily affect the water on its own. They don't have the risk for the water. It's more just for land. However, the runoff from storms and snowmelts go down into the river and cause the pollution that it does, or the damage that it does. So one of the bigger non-point source solutions when it comes to water, not just Ohio water pollution, but water pollution overall, is acid mine drainage. The reason why it's a non-point source is because it's not intentionally, like the mines weren't intentionally made to harm the water, not with that effect. It's the runoff from the snowfall and the rainfall that is pulling these chemicals into the water. Now, acid mine drainage, the drainage comes from specifically from abandoned mines that are not used for mining anymore, obviously, and it breaks down chemicals like sulfuric acid and ferric sulfate and ferric iron and brings all these chemicals down into the water. And this causes a decrease in the pH level, which means that the water becomes more acidic and dangerous for life in the water, including fishes and mussels. But as well as we can't fish in there anymore, and we can't take fish out of there as well because the fish have this toxin inside them, including mercury, that makes them kind of mutant and dangerous. So we're not allowed to. So some areas of the Ohio River we're not allowed to fish because they have are more acidic feature to it than other parts of the river. And yes, the effect of acid mine drainage is a huge deal to the fish in the river. And according to an article written by Enrich B. Emery and John P. Speech, hybrid striped bass were collected from the Ohio River and composited about 30 fish, and were analyzed for mercury and muscle tissue from each location. And concentrations of mercury range from zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.4 milligrams in the fish, and 41.7% of all samples that were collected were higher than the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency threshold of zero point 0.3 milligrams in mercury wet weight. However, not only us can save the Ohio River, but also the state as well. So the state can help clean the acid mine drainage. As you can tell by this map, that the total mercury wet deposition in Ohio, like near the border of Ohio, which is where the Ohio River is pretty high. And what the state can do is clean the acid mines and sort of block off the chemicals that are flowing into the river. And while this may sound like a lot of money, it's not, according to the Columbus Dispatch, which states that Greater Cincinnati Water Works, which supplies water to people in 3 counties, one being in Ohio, has spent around $7,500 a day for the past 21 and a half weeks to test for microcystin, which is a toxin produced by a particular kind of algae to clean algae from water. This states that around $1 million is just going into testing for toxins in the water, which means that we can put all that money, instead of putting it into cleaning the water, we can put it into trying to reduce the pollution in the water, which would benefit in the long run than just testing it and having it still be the way it is right now. We can't just use the excuse that non-point source pollution is what's truly causing the Ohio River to be as it is. No, it's also our responsibility to take care of the water on its own. And while we can't actually go up to the river and fish out every chemical and fish out everything that we've done to the river, we can find ways to reduce the water pollution by not doing certain things. Like, do not flush your pills down the toilet or any liquid or powder medications as well. And the reason why is because fish get a hold of it, and the side effects that you can see in the medication if you take too much happens in fish. And also these other types of symptoms because they don't have the same type of body that we do. So, yeah, don't flush any medications down the toilet. And do simple tasks like try not to run the dishwasher or your clothes washer too often because it conserves energy and water, and some of the bleach runs down into drains and goes down into the river. So using a minimum amount of detergent or bleach when it comes to washing your clothes helps prevent the runoff from the bleach and other chemicals from cleaning products going down into the river. Another solution to the Ohio River pollution is a pretty underrated solution because it's not really thought about too much. But if we use lids on our trash cans more often and try not to overfill them, like keep another bag in our garage or keep a bag somewhere in the house where we can't smell it, or even put some Febreze over it, this will actually help with animals not being able to get into the trash bins so they don't bring their food out to their homes. And some of their homes are actually near rivers and near the water, so they leave their trash and leave the chemicals or leave the leftover food all over the side of the river. And this causes, again, non-point source pollution that causes the trash to run off into the river after rainfall and snow melts. So try to think about the total effects that leaving your lid open or leaving a bag open will have with the animals taking the food towards the river. So while the state can do a lot to help prevent non-point source pollution, like the acid mine drainage by cleaning out the area around the river as well as the area around the acid mines that are causing this pollution and causing the lower pH levels in the Ohio River, us as American citizens can do the simple tasks as in like using less detergent in our laundry, using less bleach when it comes to washing dishes, and just not flushing medication down the drain. Just a simple task that can help prevent these pollution so we can help the state put money into preventing the Ohio River from being as polluted as it is currently.